The final and third issue is pools. As declarant, Becky has always had architectural approval over all structures, including pools. That's been true throughout Flowers Plantation. That's in the original covenants and declarations in 1997 and has never been released. She always has that. She can delegate it as she has to HOAs or to other situations, and she's done some of that, but she retains ultimate control over architectural approval. That's one reason I went through that earlier, is to say she's exercised that. Sometimes people have not liked it, but it has resulted in the quality that everybody enjoys. So it remains true. It will remain true going forward under any scenario, under all of these issues, that she will have that architectural review. Outside the village, pools have not generally been denied. They've been allowed if they meet standards. Standards for construction, again, quality, for effect on neighbors, fencing, consistent with the community, etc. It's an architectural review. There's a request, an application, it's submitted, it's reviewed. And where they fit and where all those boxes are checked, she said yes, outside the village. Pools have been allowed. On the contrary, inside the village, they have generally not been allowed. And that is because when the village started and you had the Pineville Club and you had this situation where there was the need for the captive audience, it was good for that audience to have the club. It couldn't be built without that relationship in what they thought would be sufficient to float the boat, but it wasn't. So from the beginning there was this, we need to not have pools in the village because we need to support the club and there needs to be mandatory membership. That has changed through the years. The mandatory membership no longer exists. But the reason for the pool still does. Now, I'm going to talk briefly about that, but there is the potential of a legally recognized exception to no pools in the village. Now, I'm not going to get into all legalities of that. So far, no one has met, in our judgment, those standards. And so at this point, Becky will still say no pools in the village unless the appropriate legal standards exist and somebody meets those standards and an exception needs to be made to the no pools. I won't get into that in more detail, but that is the current situation. So it's true that as of now, the no pools in the village remains the policy. She'll look at architectural review type of submissions and whether they contain the necessary ingredients and elements and proof to prove that a pool should be allowed for that homeowner is a matter that Becky, in her discretion and any of her designees, will look at. Now, could this change if the Y assumes ownership in the operation of the club or the village is dissolved? Yes, it could. Probably would. We can't say right now, and we can't guarantee anything, but what we do know, if the Y deal is blown up and the village isn't dissolved, the current position of no pools in the village will likely continue. That is a matter that Becky and her advisors look at and will continue to look at and try to do the right thing as best we can discern under the law and the facts. But as of right now, if you blow up the village, you blow up the gift and you blow up the village dissolution, nothing's changed. Everything's the same, and we'll deal with it as we must. But I would say under those circumstances that it's likely to continue with the policy of no pools in the village. In summary, I'm getting at the end. I appreciate your patience. The jewel of Johnston County, Flowers Plantation, it exists because of Becky's commitment to quality and to the mutual benefit of all. It is with that same motivation that Becky has been willing to give the club to the Y, to write up her $9 million debt, to dissolve the village to reflect the reality on the ground, and allow HOAs to manage their own gates, controlling access from the main arteries serving them and the club, and adjust policies about pools as may be appropriate considering the status of the club in the Y. Thank you for looking at this entire video. I hope it's been helpful. Again, we'll try to supplement with additional information and answer questions and concerns, and we wish you many good days of enjoyment in the Flowers Plantation PUD.